Beyond the Prompt explores how AI is reshaping storytelling and writing, opening up whole new possibilities for the future of content creation. Get ready to be inspired by a true innovator in India's creative world. Our next speaker, Mr. Vivek Anchalia, is the visionary founder behind Amazing Indian Stories, a powerhouse platform celebrating voices of change and identity across India. He's not only captivated digital audience as the director and co-writer of the Jiohotstar feature Tikdam, but also given us heartfelt stories as the screenwriter of Netflix Rajma. And Mr. Vivek isn't stopping there. His latest project, Naisha, is breaking new ground as India's first AI-driven movie, blending cinematic magic with the cutting edge of technology. Let's give a round of applause and a warm welcome to the endlessly creative, always daring Mr. Vivek Anchalia. The next speaker on the dais isn't just riding AI wave. He's helping shape his direction. He's the founder of RTA through AI Research, a name that rings loud in the corridors of enterprise innovation. He's also the owner and author of a short and happy guide to artificial intelligence for lawyers. Yes, he's making even more complex tech topics accessible to everyone, including the legal world. A trusted AI governance advisor to governments, corporates, and VC firms around the globe. He's the kind of expert whose words aren't just informative, they are transformative. So please join me in welcoming a true thought leader, a global mind, and a voice for responsible tech. Mr. Kashyap, everyone. Our next speaker is Mr. Madanmohan, who is not just the research director at YourStory Media, he is also the co-founder of MXR.world, a super cool metaverse platform that's changing the game in virtual experiences. On top of that, he's written and edited over 15 books, so he really knows his stuff when it comes to media and innovation. Mr. Madan also played a big part in building vibrant communities in India's startup and creative circles. Let's give a big friendly welcome to one and only Mr. Madanmohan.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks so much for being here. How much time we had? 1 hour, 2 hours? 45 minutes? Yeah, okay. We'll see how it goes. So, how many of you are in the AI business? You are either AI startup, you are using AI in some way, etc. How many of you are scared of AI? You're with friends, don't worry. Are you scared of AI? Okay, very good. Yeah, that's good. How many of you are confident that AI will work well, India will do very well in AI, all that stuff? Okay, good. So we have to convince them to move towards the right end of the spectrum, whatever that is. So we have two outstanding gurus over here. I'm going to ask some random questions to them, and then ask you to ask some other random questions. So my first question for both of our speakers is, we've had this prompt economy springing up on us 2-3 years ago and stuff like that. And a lot of people are talking about the skills that you need, whether you're out of a job, etc. I learned a new word yesterday called AI off, like layoff, AI off, where AI lays you off. So this is by a guy called Vivek son. He's a professor from Kellogg Business School, something of that sort. So anyway, so some people are scared, some people are optimistic, etc. My first question to a panel is, where are we today in this whole prompt economy thing? Prompt engineering is a big skill to have now. How have you leveraged each of these? What are your thoughts on the prompt economy, prompt engineering, and so on? Yeah.
Traditional filmmaking, when it comes to me, it's about filmmaking and how I'm using AI in that. I think it's drastically brought down things that were not possible earlier, especially for storytellers, because what would happen in a system that I work in is, for a painter, you don't need permission to paint, right? A novelist doesn't need permission to write a novel. But a director needs permission to direct something because you have an actor and you have a studio and you have a lot of things need to come together for a film to happen. Between your vision and the eventual creation, there are a lot of people and a lot of things involved. Through this, what is happening is people are being able to put their ideas, and those ideas immediately become products, immediately become things. We are still at a nascent stage, but the growth that we've seen in the last 6 months is incredible. I think we are not far away from a time where we would go into a theater, watch a movie, and would not even realize it was made with AI. So that's how fast it is changing my industry. This is only from a perspective of, say, entire AI films, but otherwise also in the traditional filmmaking sense, there are a lot of times when we shoot expensive. There are a lot of things that make films expensive. Like, let's say you start a film and you have a shot of a camera coming from the clouds, getting into a train and everything, right? This takes a lot to shoot and a lot of cost. Now these things does not have actors. Now it can be made on AI and you don't need to do any of that. So hybrid filmmaking where traditional, some shots would be done by AI and the other shots would be done live. So it's going to bring down the cost of movies drastically. And it's also going to enable a lot of filmmakers in the country who would otherwise not be able to tell their story. So that's how I think this is.
How many media folks in the audience? Your story writers, print, video, podcasts, etc. Any people from the film industry? Okay, they've all been obliterated by AI already. Okay, Kashyap, what's your take on the prompting?
So I define prompting as how to work well with the super powerful AI models that we have. So there is this myth that goes around. It says that we as humans use only 10% of our brain. So that's been debunked. But you say that we don't use all the brain power that we have. So if you don't know prompting today, it's like you're using only 5 to 10% of what's possible with AI models. And this is the first time that we have such incredibly powerful models available to everybody. So just some audience sense check. How many programmers do you think are there in the world? Any guesses? In the world. Globally, how many programmers, software engineers, developers, whatever?
1 million.
How many?
1 million.
1 million is a little too less. Probably we'll have in this T Hub Chawal area. So there are about 30 to 50 million. So roughly, like say 3 crore to 5 crore people are there. But with prompting, this is like programming in natural language. So the number of people who can work effectively and get things done with computers, that suddenly becomes 150 crores.
Exponential.
Because everybody like can make movies. Not to the same skill level as you, but with prompting, without technical knowledge. So that's the power of prompting. So I think this ability to work well with AI models is going to remain important. There are 3 R's, right? Reading, writing, arithmetic. The 4th thing is really artificial intelligence, and for a bulk of the folks, that's going to mean like this prompting. What we are calling it prompting, we will call it something else, context engineering or something else later. But this is going to remain a key skill.
R for artificial intelligence. Who heard it for the first time today? Right? Wow, you're ahead of the curve. Anyway, you just mentioned 1 or 2 myths and misconceptions about AI and Gen AI. What are some other ones that you see? We still have a lot of confusion, I guess. So what are some myths and misconceptions that you have about the mental model maybe of AI?
That's a fantastic question. So there is a fable called the blind man and the elephant. So there are blind men who are trying to make sense of the elephant. Somebody touches the tail and thinks it's a rope. Somebody else touches its trunk and it says it's a snake, ball. Depending on which part of the elephant you touch, you have different conceptions of what this beast called the elephant is. So artificial intelligence again is like such a huge field, vast field. People have different misconceptions based on what they have been exposed to. So that's the way to think about this. Particularly if you were to focus on generative AI, the field changes so vast. So whatever conceptions you had about, say, Gen AI at the beginning of this year are not necessarily true any longer. So this, you'll have to really update your mental model of what AI can do, cannot do, so frequently and rapidly. That is not the case in other domains. So that rapid pace of, like I said, there's a lot of things that AI is consuming, a lot of energy. There's a lot of water that is wasted, a lot of electricity that's wasted, all true. But there is a step decline in the amount of energy that AI uses, for example. There is a step decline in the cost to serve these models. So the cost to serve these models has come down roughly 2,000 times since the time ChatGPT was released. So there are a lot of things, like for example, so with each iteration of the model, what we thought was not possible, what we thought was like the limitation of that AI model is changing. So this is something that I mean, unless you are like deep in the weeds, it's tough to figure out.
Great, thanks. In fact, I'm one of those guilty of first dismissing ChatGPT and Gen AI until a year later, but I said, wow, this is something. So this is a classic example of anchor bias. The first few times you see something, you think that's how the thing is, but it evolves and changes and becomes much more powerful later on. So, Vivek, what's your take on what are the myths and misconceptions filmmakers, maybe creatives have about Gen AI? Is it good? Is it going to take away the jobs? Do they know how it works? Those kind of things.
So the misconceptions about AI is one of the misconceptions is that you go into a room, you come out after 5 minutes and you have something in your hand. That's not how it works at all. Because when people have a very generic idea about AI. Some people think it's useless, and some people think it's free. Right? Both are wrong. Neither is it useless nor is it free. There is a lot of human involvement to get anything good out of AI. Like he said about prompt engineering. Now, prompt engineering itself is a huge process to get to a point where your prompt structures are so strong that they give you that kind of quality. So right now, like what we are struggling in the advertising industry is they don't understand why they need to pay you at all. Because so there are two kind of clients. One is AI karna hi nahi hai, or whatever. The other bit is that agar kar rahe hain to free mein paisa kya lagna hai? It's barely, you spend what, an hour to make it. It's not like that. You spend weeks actually. It is still a lot of work, a lot of iteration, a lot of human direction that goes into it. So these are two big misconceptions about AI on both sides of the end of the spectrum. Also, at the same time, I think, and this is again my personal subjective opinion, that people think that AI will never reach where human beings are at this point, or whether in a movie it will never reach there, or in other things. I don't think that's true. We already have Mickey Mouse. It's a non-living character that we all love, right? So there is no reason why we will not love AI actors or AI characters when they are done well. We love Mickey Mouse because Mickey Mouse, the story told well, and Mickey Mouse is done well. Similarly, when AI characters become that good and are being told that good, they will be valuable. That's another misconception that we have, that this will not get replaced. Also, one thing about AI is, till now, there hasn't been a task that has been given to AI which it has not beaten humans at. So there is no reason that it will not beat us at that also. So yeah, I think those things are coming.
So I just want to quickly chime in, which is that one mental model that stops a lot of businesses is that you think of AI as providing end-to-end automation, like what Vivek also has alluded to. So what AI provides is middle to middle. So you need to have a human at the beginning, and then you need to have a human at the end. So at the beginning is probably prompting and how do you get the best outputs of AI. And at the end is really about, are the outputs valid? Are they legal? Those kind of fact checks, etc. So if you think of AI enabling middle to middle automation, that's a useful mental model to have.
That's a great mental model. Thanks. Very good insights. How many of you use Gen AI every day? At least once a day. Okay. Every hour? Every week? Maybe? Every week? Okay, but yeah. So there's a fair, moderate kind of usage of AI. That was the end of our first round of very general questions. I've got some specific questions for each of our speakers now. So Vivek, tell us about AI and film. How did you get the idea? What was the journey? How long it took? Were you satisfied with the results, etc.?
So it didn't start as a film because it's almost like a living organism is what this thing is, right? It is the first time where your tech is changing faster than or probably changing at the speed of your thought. So earlier, what used to happen, we had a 16mm camera which had its limitations or whatever good things about it. You would shoot, the tech would not change. Neither will the edit, neither will the color correction, neither none of those things. Now, when I started, a film was unthinkable, is what it was. So when we started, we had a few songs because I'm a traditional filmmaker and a lyricist. So we had, in fact, one of my music director friends who's an Andhadhun and Johnny Kadar and Bell Bottom. And there's a guy called Daniel B. George. He's from Hyderabad actually. Danny and I had made a few songs, and we thought, why not make music videos on it? Because we don't have the money to go and shoot those music videos. So it started as music videos, then it felt like there is a story that can be woven around it. Also, where we started, where there were faces barely made, the eyes were not proper, the nose were not smudged. It was not good at all. It was just blurry things. Then it started becoming better. Now we are at a point, there are some shots you cannot tell that if it is AI. In fact, at some point I'd like to show something which is our plan for the next 6 months. You would, like, I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer of Naisha which we had put out in Feb. This is what we're going to put out in another 1 week's time. And the change is phenomenal, how fast it has moved. So at some point Naisha felt like a movie is possible. So we committed to it. We said we are doing this movie. We have the script ready. We then started generating images and all that. And then out of the sky, 20 models came. Like VO, Kling. When I started, there was only Runway and Midjourney. Then Kling came, VO came, Xfield came, FreePig. Everybody started jumping into the space. In fact, we had to pause the film in the middle because it was almost like whatever money we had spent, we had to re-spend again. Because now we could not live with the quality that was there. So then the quality was much better then. So then we put a pause to the film. Now we are at a stage when we restarted it again. But hopefully we'll be out in October or something. So that's been the journey of Naisha. But yeah.
Amazing how fast it's evolving. Speed of thought, you say. The responsiveness is almost immediate. Like, ask
Who is moving towards you at the same time? Like, it's rarely happens like that. The tech is moving towards you faster than you moving towards it. So they are, because see, their business only works if more and more people can use it. Forget filmmakers like me who have experience. They want someone who has an idea to be able to make something. That's where the real money is, real number of users is. Like ChatGPT is a mass product, right? None of these things are mass products yet. They will become mass products when their tech is that good that someone can. When I think prompting also after a point is going to become a little useless because these things also now are reading context. Like if you say earlier we would have to write 20 lines of prompt to get something very specific. Now you write a single line and understand what you want. So it is also doing self-prompting within itself to give you the result, even if you're asking in a very simple language, because they want to be more massive products.
So maybe this is very exciting and scary at the same time. This is not a very different sector now. Kashyap, you got a book out on law and AI. So how is the legal law sector reacting to AI? Does it lend itself very well because it's already such structured information and AI can churn out different kinds of things? I have no idea. Tell us.
I think it's, so our book is called Artificial Intelligence for Lawyers. It's targeted at the US market. So the dynamics of the US market and India market are very different. So the US market probably works on the billable hour. So if you use AI to reduce the number of billable hours that a lawyer can charge, so you'll sort of cannibalize your own revenue, and it's also very regulated profession, licensed profession restrictions. So the adoption of AI in the US legal sector is not as fast as it can be. So in fact, the blurb of our book says this is what happens when the world's fastest moving technology, like you said, AI, meets the old world's slowest changing profession, which is law. Okay, so the pace of change is different. But in the US now, non-law firms can offer law services. The KPMG has started. So it's just pace of change is slow. But in India, it's a very dynamic, very different dynamic. So in India, there are roughly 20 lakh lawyers, of which probably 10,000 to 15,000 work in corporate law firms. So the number of big law firms, etc., is very limited. So any usage of technology, this costs money. So that has to happen from the top down. Right? These firms, they are actually trialing a lot of these AI products for research or preparing contract drafts, etc. So that's the dynamic at the top of the law pyramid in India. But at the same time, like in 1987, the Law Commission recommended that India should have about 50 judges per 10 lakh population. Right now we are somewhere between 15 to 17, roughly around that range. So there are a lot of vacancies at different levels of the courts in India. Even if we fill all the vacancies, we'll still come to 21 judges per 10 lakh people. While ideally we should be at 15. So a lot of statistics I can throw at you which says that there are, in the high courts, number of cases that are pending for 5 years is like 51%. And the number of litigation that comes in India, like if you think of stock and flow, we are actually, there are probably about 5 lakh cases that are filed in India every year. And by the way, a lot of cases don't get filed because we have pendency, etc. So as of current projections, the backlog, which is a big problem, if we need to have access to justice in India, this backlog needs to be cleared. At current projections, 15 to 20% of pendency is going to end up every year. So we have a huge problem. And we are hoping that by bringing in automation tools, by bringing in AI tools, is that a solution? We don't know. Because AI has its own blind spots and it is going to bring in its wake some of its own problems. Before, you actually make responsible use of AI, you need to train the lawyers. So there are about roughly 2 lakh law colleges in India. We produce about 70,000 lawyers every year. According to me, about maybe 5 or 6 colleges teach legal tech or AI. So we can't put these powerful tools in the hands of untrained people. So it's a complex field. Well, the technology itself can be powerful, can be used in the right hands, etc. There are all these other non-technical factors which sort of muddy the issue.
Got it, yeah. Okay, I've got one more question for them, and then we'll open up to the audience over here. You mentioned India quite a few times. So my question for both of you is, what's the India angle? We're teaching ourselves India local innovation, open source, all this, quite into it. So maybe from an innovation point of view, from corporate and startups, maybe government policy point of view, corporate R&D investment, where are we? Where's India in this?
So he's a movie maker, but I'll tell you what's the best way to think about what the debates that are happening in India. So one camp says that India should be the use case capital of India. So we don't build in models like ChatGPT or the models that power ChatGPT. So that's one school of thought. The other school of thought is we should have a world-class sovereign LLMs. So that's another school of thought. So why I said the movie angle is that if you want to build a large model, large language model that's world class, it's like trying to make a blockbuster movie. Success is not guaranteed. Shelf life is limited because whatever is the older version is no longer the state of the art. And it costs a lot of money. Like companies like Amazon, and these are big companies like Meta, have spent billions of dollars and they don't have world-class models. So in India, the debate is, this is the same debate that we had when we launched the Mars or the space program. Is India rich enough? Should we be doing maybe something else with that money rather than do this thing? But India has a tradition of, cost-effective innovation. So what India needs, according to me, the government should focus on taking the technologies. One dimension to what the government should do is help improve the use cases. And the second thing which I'm hoping is, so I read somewhere that after 300 billion, if you're a billionaire, after $300 billion, it doesn't make any difference to your lifestyle. So I'm hoping some of those billionaires, so accumulating additional Indian billionaires, accumulating additional billions, take like $100 million and say, okay, let us throw the money and see if we're able to cost effectively make a good sovereign world-class LLM from India. So those of you, the billionaires from Hyderabad, you can talk offline.
Hopefully we will all get close to the 300 million stage. What are your thoughts? You mentioned a lot of interesting tools and all that. Are all these tools coming from the US, UK? Are these tools being created in India as well? The users of these tools, is it getting much more adoption? Other countries, or is India very savvy in using all these tools for film?
India is very good with using these things. Creating, I don't know, things are happening here. We are a very unique country. When we started working, it was very difficult to produce Indian faces, even in a mid-journey, because our data was not trained on our data. So I know people who are going village to village, photographing people, creating things which will be very specific to India. Also, at the same time, we're the only country in the world that has so many languages. So I think there is a lot of merit in creating localized stuff for India, which I don't think anybody else will be able to create. So there lies a huge opportunity to create, and we are a country of crazy number of people. So even if our country was to use our thing, it would be enough, is what it would be. So I think there is a huge opportunity there for companies to create stuff for India, which also understands India. I think we are, for the first time, we have an advantage over US in terms of storytelling in my industry. Because what has happened till now, English was the only language where you could afford to put 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 crores and make a movie because there was a recovery model, because the world spoke English, right? We have stories which are way bigger, but we have never been able to make it. You have one RRR and one Bahubali in all these years because we do not have recovery. I mean, who would watch a Hindi or a Telugu or a Tamil film across the world for us to recover that kind of money? But if the cost of production comes down drastically, which it will with AI, then we are sitting on gold, is what it is. And that's what we are also trying to do. We don't have Disney. We don't have a Disney here. We don't have IP studio. So we, like my company is called Amazing Indian Stories. We are trying to build an IP studio where we leverage our culture, our stories, and build on that. Because I think the only thing which is AI proof is Mickey Mouse. Because whether it gets done on AI, whether it's getting done live, however it gets done, Mickey Mouse holds value, right? IPs will hold value. IPs are the only thing that are AI proof. Because at some point, machines will be able to do. But if there is emotional value attached to a character, emotional value attached to things, then that is something that holds tremendous value.
Okay, great. We're going to be kicked out in 5 minutes, so I think it's a good time to open up the floor to the audience for some Q&A. How long is it? Just take 2-3 questions and then come to the video. How about that? Yeah, just to hear these guys. Yeah, sure. Any questions? Questions, comments? Now is the hour. Just ask the questions back to back. We'll ask them to answer later on. Yes. Yeah, man in front. Yeah.
My question is not related to movies or law. I represent the hospitality industry. So my question is, you see AI making heroes there. Part of it, the second part is apologies to all the youngsters sitting here. If you don't make our youngsters lazy, where they will start using AI for coming up with that.
Okay, great. Next question. Yeah, next. Yeah, no, go ahead.
Sir, I am a student from IBS Hyderabad. Sir, recently Airtel launched Perplexity Pro.
Use the mic.
Sir,
Yeah, please go ahead, speak.
That's okay, yeah.
So recently Airtel launched Perplexity Pro. So how can we use it to the most efficient level as a student?
Okay, student user perplexity. One last question. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I have a question regarding trust and ethics in AI. And again, we see that AI is able to generate a lot of things. And recently there was a case with the Japanese characters, right? Thank you. And no credit was given to me, and everyone was creating images and so on and so forth. We talked about IP. So there are two questions. One is that how do you protect IP in this age of AI? The second thing is that when we look at content, now we don't know whether it's AI generated or is it real. I mean, even with podcasts, you will see, you can just give your face and it will generate a whole movie with your content, whatever you want to say, and there is no labeling that says AI generated. So is there some policies and things coming in this direction?
Okay, since we're out of time, we take the answers offline. We can catch them over tea, coffee, etc. But let's end with a good demo of your movie or something that you're talking about, and then we wrap up. But yeah.
This is basically where just tech is right now, and
Great, okay. Great suggestion. In 1 minute, our speakers are going to give express broadband answers to this one. answers. Amazing stories, brilliant. Thanks, Kashyap. Great suggestion. In 30 seconds each, they're going to give brief answers to some of the questions.
So first, easy question, perplexity. Get better at prompting, take it, and use it. So because that is going to be the starting point, like if you're an MBA student, that's going to be the starting point. So your value add has to be above that. So try around with that. With the hospitality, the first part of your question is, so hospitality is about human relationship. So use the mundane, these AI tools for the mundane tasks, so you have enough time to focus on the human aspects of it. The second concept that you mentioned, is it making us lazy? That's the problem. There's a lot of research called cognitive offloading. We're doing a lot of thinking, outsourcing thinking to machines. So please check out cognitive offloading. That'll have a lot of answers. As to Rima's question of IP, so different jurisdictions are treating this very differently. Content, it's like Japan, for example, says it's okay in the interest of having sovereign LLMs to license to not pay. But I'm hoping that they will evolve eventually into an architecture, because now technology has sort of caught us by surprise. We have these licensing regimes in place, and we're already seeing that their content is being licensed. Sad part of it, side effect of it, a lot of content will go behind paywalls. So that's one aspect of it. So content forensics, there is an initiative called CCPA, where if content is generated using AI, it is going to be logged. So OpenAI, Adobe, Microsoft, etc. are all going to flag AI content. You see all of that happening to an extent in YouTube, in Instagram, in LinkedIn, etc. So content forensics is going to be big. But like if we are going to come up with realistic videos, our architecture of trust will break down because we don't know what is deepfakes, what is not deepfakes. I wish we had more time to go into the nitty-gritty of this.
Yes,
Each
yeah.
of these is a fascinating thing.
Our next
But our next speakers are here. So with that, thank you for your coming here.
Yeah, okay, great. Fantastic. And outside, ladies and gentlemen, on so thanks so much. And I think we got some freebies, some wine, whiskey for these guys. Oh no.
I would request Madanmohan Rao to felicitate the speakers.
Madan has this thing where he does the selfie with the audience. All of you.
First up, I would request Mr. Madanmohan Rao to felicitate Mr. Vivek Anchalia. And then felicitate Mr. Kashyap. Thank you so much, dignitaries, for sharing these amazing thoughts and inspiring us with your words. For the next panel discussion regarding the social entrepreneur success secret, I would like to call upon Mr. Nagraj Prakasan and Ms. Sri Devi Reddy. We are diving straight into the souls of entrepreneurship. Not every entrepreneur builds unicorns. Some